you know, I guess talking about songwriting it's weird because it becomes analytical. And before we start the performances, do you want to just, any of you, start with what is it that compels you to write a song?
Well, I do feel a total compulsion to do it, and it's either a really good mood or a bad mood. So with a good mood, I feel like maybe I can take a shot at doing what I love so much. I love listening to records so much. It's just, I feel like my lifetime career is actually just a listener of rock and roll records, basically. That's my favorite thing to do.
You were a writer when you were writing about music.
Yeah, I was at Guitar World for a couple of years.
And during that time, had you started writing songs, or what gave you the impetus to do it for yourself?
Oh, yeah. No, I did it for myself from the beginning. I don't know why. I think I was a latchkey kid. I grew up in New York, and you know, there was no backyard to play in. I didn't have, you know, I had friends, but I only saw them at school, so I was just alone a lot, you know. So it's a way to keep yourself company. And then later in life, in the angsty teen years and the angsty 20s, it was a way to put handles on a problem, you know, because if something was bothering you, if you had some kind of whatever it was, you know, a worry or an insecurity or whatever it was, you know, if you could make it rhyme and have a beat in 3 minutes, it just made it more dealable with, you know. And then later, it's just for the love of it, because it's one of the only times that I kind of lose myself a little bit, mm-hmm. You know, in songwriting and in playing on stage. I feel like, you know, it's the one moment I don't really think about what anybody thinks. Which is weird, since it's the one time when someone has an opportunity to
judge you.
Yeah.
Daniel, when you sign bands, does it you come to it as a fan, or do you think about this is a song that's going to be a big radio hit?
I think first as a fan. The live show is the connection. If you look at the entire company, it's the live show.
But how do you monetize that?
I don't dwell on it. I have to be honest. I think, you know, being brought up at Chrysalis, which was where I spent my formative years, it was signing the best live artists, and the records weren't incidental. They were moments, and hiring great producers. So I followed that rule, and you know, we're a very live, supportive company. And how do I make a model of that? You're saying? How do we monetize that? We expose the music, and I think it's the best time, maybe since 60s or 70s, of exposure mediums out there with satellite radio and digital radio, and when our world, the non-com AAA world, has never been more attuned and more honorable and trusted artist to programmer. So I think, you know, and you're really active in that world. And I think you've carried the torch for so long, and now a lot of the people that you've mentored and groomed are in power. But the artists that are breaking and winning Grammys and on the stages of the festivals, the main stages, are coming out of this world of great live bands with amazing songs, not making radio records, but making great records. So I think we're in the middle of an amazing moment of time. So monetize it in the weirdest ways. You know, it's the statements are getting stranger and more fantastic. You know, the streaming statements, the licensing statements, which again is all done by the artist. We don't tell. We ask the band if they want to be on Spotify. We ask the band if they want this commercial or film placement, and you know, our roster is pretty rough on us on that stuff. But you know, it's their song, not ours.
And Mac, one of the things that you're among the few that juggles the creative side of being a musician along with running a label. Do you have to almost shut off a switch in order to get into a portastatic or superchunk mode to start writing songs? And just put the business out, or can you juggle the two?
I mean, I guess I don't think of it as juggling, just because they're so different and they're so separate. And I mean, like Matthew said, I feel like my whole, since I was 10 or whatever, I feel like I've just been like a fan of what's on the radio, you know, as a kid, and then buying records and going to shows and stuff like that as a teenager and an adult.
Was there a song that said, I want to write a song from your youth that said, I think I want to try this myself, or a band?
I don't know if there was one band in particular, but I guess I grew up in a time where, you know, the bands that I was listening to, you know, on the radio in the 70s, you know, The Who and the Rolling Stones and AC/DC and stuff like that, they were all, in other words, this is like a generation, I think the first generation really, where everyone was known for writing their own songs rather than the hits being someone else's songs, written by professional songwriters. So that was just the normal thing. And then, you know, when you start going to punk rock shows or something, I mean, those people are definitely all writing their own songs, you know. So it was just kind of the norm, and it makes you want to do it, you know. I think that, you know, back to your original question, I think when I'm thinking about bands that we want to work with on Merge, and when I'm writing my own songs, I think it's all informed just by being a fan of other things. And so in some ways, then the challenge when you're writing a song is to not be derivative of those things. I mean, it's all derivative, I think, but not too much, so, you know.
One of the things that you said was a little bit of a challenge was because your voice is so distinctive that when you think you're writing for a woman, when you play the demo...
A lot of the time I am writing for a woman. Even with the band in my head, it's a woman. I don't know, I was saying before, like, I don't know if that's a common thing among anybody else, but your voice that you hear...
You think you're Kate Bush?
I think I'm Kate Bush. I still think I'm Kate
do you
Bush.
Demonstrate?
I'd love to be Kate Bush.
And so there's a song that on the record called Blue Eyes, and where'd that come from?
Blue Eyes. So it's one of these. It was one of those 10 minutes. It was one of those sort of things.
Right. Yeah.
I was but it was a song that I didn't even realize was a song until I thought it was just a verse or just a pretty melody until I ended up writing the lyrics the next day. Right. So the song had sort of, the melody and the chords sort of all came in, you know, in sort of not even in 3 minutes. And I was like, oh, that's quite cool. And then I recorded it, and then I was like, I'll do the lyrics tomorrow. And came back the next day, and when I was like, I thought I was gonna write the lyrics for a verse and then finish the rest of the song. And then when I wrote the lyrics, I realized, oh, that is a song, and it was sort of done. And then the lyrics didn't take very long, and it was just one of those things where if I hadn't had my phone to be able to record it, I probably would have forgotten it and never, and it would have been gone forever. Yeah, sure. So this is another song which sort of came together, really without me even writing it. It just sort of came out to the point where I didn't even realize it was a song until a day later. But this is a song called Blue Eyes. I wanna take your hand and lead you to a promised land. They're writing on the wall saying, God bless you all, I'll lead you to a promised land. Don't get so down on life, we're all trying to fill the holes inside. Sometimes they get too wide, and some are hard to find. We're all trying to fill the holes inside. Oh, to the loveless lost, when you just can't seem to shine away the rust. Sing it the way it's meant to be. There's no surprise when I'm staring in your blue eyes. By so fast, and it's hard to make the good things last. But don't stare into the night, darling, it'll be alright. It's hard to make the good things last. Oh, to the loveless lost, when you just can't seem to shine away the rust. Sing it the way it's meant to be. There's no surprise when I'm staring in your blue eyes. Then there's another chorus, and then that's it.
When I had been on Matador Records, and then Spoon went and did a record with Elektra Records. and it didn't go very well. And then I was talking to Gerard, one of the presidents of Matador, about coming back to Matador, which was just, I loved this idea. I was a very down little guy before I figured out that I was going to be able to make records again. So I was talking to Gerard. He wanted to put out the new record, which would be Girls Can Tell. And I went to dinner with Chris Lombardi, the other president of Matador Records, and then I heard a few days later, Chris doesn't want to do it. And I, felt like, the rug had been pulled out from under me. I didn't know what I was going to do next. And I felt like, and I remember thinking, I need someone to take care of me tonight. I was really down. And so I was sitting on that lyric for a long time. The happy side of the story is that Mac ended up putting out the record in 2001 on his label.
But, I think of Black Like Me, I think of the book.
Yeah. I don't think the title has anything to do with the title doesn't appear in the song, does it? No, it doesn't. No. It just ended up being a sort of, heartfelt, down in the dumps type of song, and I thought Black Like Me fit. Plus, it was funny. And then the music just came along much, much later. It was one of those things where I was looking through a bunch of recordings that I'd completely forgotten about, like little 30-second snippets of music, and I found one that was this tune. Didn't know when it had been recorded, and I'm gonna need someone to take care of me tonight fit in it. So.
I'ma lead to someone to take care of me tonight. As I walk into Dorian's, can you see it in my eyes? My boots are on the mend, and they ain't walking home. Street tar and cones do a job on your soul. Street tar and summer do a job on your soul. Jenny's watching cover shots, my head's feeling light. I'ma lead to someone to take care of me tonight, anyhow, anyway. So I split, just getting louder left was gonna get me out of this. I spent the night in the map room, I humanized the vacuum, yeah. I'ma lead to someone to take care of me tonight. Oh, as I'm looking out at you, can you see that in my eyes on the mend? Now they could lead me home. Street tar in summer, they do a job on your soul. Oh, Chili's gone day and night. Oh, it made me feel so light. Just somebody to care tonight. Jenny's watching day and night. Oh, it made me feel so light. Just somebody to care tonight. Ooh, and all the weird kids up front, tell me what you know you want. Just somebody to care tonight.